Yo, what's going on, guys? And today we got to talk about a report coming from 98.7 Phoenix, Arizona radio, John Gambarado, I believe it is, right here saying that both Memphis and Milwaukee are having discussion, the Milwaukee Bucks and the Memphis Grizzlies, with the Miami Heat for a Jimmy Butler trade. I don't know why I struggle to say that. We're going to start off with the Milwaukee Bucks trade because a lot of you are going to be thinking, well, they're a second apron team. How would they even be able to do such a trade? And it's actually a lot more feasible than you would think. So before we start today's video, I want to hear your guys' thoughts in the comment section down below. Hit that like and subscribe button for more content like this, and go check out my work at hoopshype.com and follow me on Twitter or Blue Sky, whatever you use nowadays. Now, let's start off, as I said, with the one that you guys probably want to hear. How do the Milwaukee Bucks get a guy like Jimmy Butler? Because the Grizzlies, it's easy enough. They have a bunch of salary filler contracts and assets that they can get it done. For the Milwaukee Bucks, it's navigating the second apron. It has to be two trades. It's technically a 3-team trade. That's how they would report it. But step one would be the Bucks sending Pat Connaughton, who's averaging like 5 points, 37% from three, and a second round pick to Detroit. That would clear $9.4 million on their salary cap, which would get them below the second apron, which then would allow them to aggregate players in a trade. They just can't take back more money. They have to take back less money. So by doing the first trade, sending Pat Connaughton there, they're able to now get themselves a second trade, which would be the Bucks trading Chris Middleton, who people were like, well, Chris Middleton's all hurt and stuff, and the Heat don't want long-term money. Look, worst comes to worst, Chris Middleton plays out this season and he isn't healthy. They buy him out and they get him. He's off the books by 2026. Bobby Portis, who would fit for the team, and then Marjon Beauchamp, he's got his 4th-year option declined. He could be a reclamation project, and a 2031 first-round pick to Miami. That would be how the Bucks would get themselves the deal. That's how it would work. That's what it looks like. And Josh Richardson as a trade sweetener. I think Alec Burks could also be another one. But the reason for this is Butler would obviously form a big three with the 32 point per game score, 12 rebounds a night that Giannis Antetokounmpo is getting. Damian Lillard is averaging 25, 7.5 assists, and he's shooting 55% from the field, 65% true shooting. And Middleton, when he's played, has only averaged 13 points, 44% from the field. And so far, Jimmy Butler this season is a guy who is a 6-time All-Star, is one of the best two-way players, is a proven playoff performer. And here, Jimmy Butler averaging just under 18 points, 5 assists, 55% from the field, 65% true shooting. He really isn't taking any threes anymore. But Milwaukee's defense, led by Brook Lopez and Giannis Antetokounmpo, replaces that hole that Drew Holiday left since they traded him with Jimmy Butler. They still have Damian Lillard, and now you got Damian Lillard, Jimmy Butler, Giannis Antetokounmpo, Brook Lopez, and Taurean Prince. Your bench, yeah, you lose Middleton and Bobby Portis, but I think Jimmy Butler's versatility helps you make up for that loss. They've also, Larry Bird 2.0, AJ Green's cooking, and so is Andre Jackson. They can also go into the free agency market and look at a guy like Naz Little or a Tony Snell if they want to get more wing help, or Dennis Smith Jr. And I think Doc Rivers at this point, he just wants to maximize the last few years he has as a coach, and this Bucks team needs to do whatever they can. Doc Rivers runs a really player-oriented, and Jimmy's played for Doc before, so the defensive schemes and the structured sets he runs will be ideal for Jimmy Butler. And I think Chris Middleton is just a guy who's a reliable scorer if it does work out. Bobby Portis had some front court scoring and rebounding, and a reclamation project possibly with Marjon Beauchamp, or just a buyout guy. Pat Connaughton, he would just be a throw in there. But Memphis now is the next team that we should talk about. And then we'll decide which one is better. And that's where I would want to hear your guys' opinion. Which trade would you guys do and why? So here is the next trade. And this is the Memphis Grizzlies, as the Grizzlies are a team that are trying to go from being a playoff team. People forgot for like 2 years in a row, they were a number 2 seed back-to-back years, one of the best teams in the league, and they're following that up. There's no pick right here, but you would assume they would throw in a future first of some sort, unprotected. Luke Kennard expiring. John Conchar is a really good Swiss Army knife guy who can play the 2, the 3, even small ball 4. And he's on like a $6 million per year deal. As I already said, Kennard's a expiring. Brandon Clark would give him front court depth, and then Marcus Smart becomes an expiring next year that he could flip, or he just kind of fits the culture that the Heat have. And in this deal, Memphis stays under the tax threshold, which is huge, as the cap impact would be less significant than it would be, and it wouldn't have to be such a circumventing of the cap as the Bucks would have to do. As we said, 18 points per night, almost 5 assists, 55%, 65% from the true shooting, 55 from the field. Jimmy would bring in an isolation score that the Grizzlies have been looking for. Yeah, Jaren Jackson Jr. and Desmond Bane are 20 point per game scores, but they're not like Ja or Jimmy that they can take over and be the scorer in crunch time in the playoffs and play make for everybody. And this is a team that ranks already second in the NBA for assists with only 31 a game. So I think his efficiency and his ability to be that crunch time scenario, to have 2 guys, John Morant and Jimmy Butler, would make this team an actual contender if they were to do a move like this. Now, Memphis ranks 3rd in blocks with 6.5 a game, 2nd in rebounds with almost 49 a game. And Butler is an insane defensive player. Obviously, he's not what he used to be, but still, he would complement Jaren Jackson Jr. And really, you're giving up Marcus Smart, but you're getting Jimmy Butler, who I still think's better than Marcus Smart. The starting lineup would be John Morant, who's averaging 21 points a game. You'd have 8 assists a night from Joss. You have a 17 point per game scorer, and Desmond Bane, who's having a down year, shooting 35% from 3. Jaren Jackson Jr. is averaging 22 points a night. Santi Aldama, who would probably start at this point, and who's averaging 13 points a night. And Jimmy Butler, because that would be a massive team. That'd be huge. Yeah, you're losing Marcus Smart and Brandon Clark, but Taylor Jenkins has always emphasized this grit and grind with ball movement and floor spacing and defensive intensity, which aligns with what Jimmy Butler wants or plays. In Miami, they get a defensive leader and playmaker who's going to be an expiring contract next year, averages 9 points, 4 assists, and 1.5 steals, 2 years removed from his Defensive Player of the Year award season. Brandon Clark, a reliable big man who seems to be almost back to what he was before he popped his Achilles. And then an expiring contract in Luke Kennard, who's a dead-eye three-point shooter. As I said, toolsy guy in John Conchar. Now, I think when we look at this, it is quite interesting to see how both teams upped eye to eye, just to give you guys the little breakdown of what this would look like. The number one scoring team right now, team points, the Memphis Grizzlies. The Grizzlies are a significantly better team, and getting Butler would add a leader, ball movement, and Jaren Jackson Jr. this season. I don't know why I put key players added, but key players right now. John Morant's, I feel like aforementioned, but Jaren Jackson Jr. in this sense, having Memphis get Butler, which they're already like top in every statistics, it would give them a legit leader to lean upon and to create a big three to make this team a legit one. While I think Milwaukee, if they did this, it would really, really hurt, in my opinion, the assets. Like, you'd be desperate if you're the Milwaukee Bucks and you did this. This is a last call, last ditch effort. I also want to say the Butler enhances clutch play should have been for the Grizzlies, and Butler adds ball movement should have been for the Bucks. But when I put that into Excel, or Google Sheets, I just messed that up. So Miami, they want to balance short-term competitiveness with long-term flexibility. The Grizzly trade adds depth and youth and maintains cap flexibility and gives them a playoff caliber roster, while the Bucks trade secures veteran talent and probably maybe a better future draft capital, but he stays in the Eastern Conference. So I think Jimmy Butler, obviously, when he gets traded, if he does get traded, they're saying that he could stay there. It's going to be a big deal. So whether he goes to Memphis and he mentors a young core, or Milwaukee goes all in, Los Angeles Rams style, I want to hear which trade package you think's best. Let me know. I just think Memphis benefits the most because they wouldn't be like stuck to the salary cap.